No, this doesn't work. Wait, does this work? This is gonna work. Hi, oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm very happy to see so many of you here today. So welcome to Vinted. Welcome to the headquarters. Who is here for the first time in their entire life? Majority of who's not here for the first time in their entire. Have you been to the lunch part? Or yeah, of course. So you've tried the lunch. That's very logical. Very again happy to see all of you here. My name is Goda. I am from the Future Careers team, which is one of the people functions here at Vinted. What we do is we co-create with our businesses here at Vinted entry-level talent programs. Not a surprise. That's why you're here. And that's what we want to do today is go a little bit deeper into two talent programs that we have, which is data science and analytics, as well as engineering academies. They are a little bit similar, a little bit different. It's not obvious. I'm not expecting you to know all of that stuff, so I'll make sure that we cover all the bases. And beyond the fact, we can also touch subjects a little bit deeper. What's the culture of engineering here at Vinted? Also, what career could look like, all of the questions that you have right now in your head, whether it's related to imposter syndrome or fear, all of those things are very, very normal at this stage of your career, whether you're a student, a recent graduate, a career changer. So we want to make sure that we also hear from real people. So the way we structured this conversation, I'm going to come back to that in a second. The way we structured this conversation is that we're going to start with Aurelia, our Senior Director from Trust and Safety, and she's going to share a little bit more on that culture at Vinted, what the career could look like to help you visualize and imagine yourself being here. Does it work for you? Does it not? So I hope Aurelia's part will help you answer that. Moving onward, I'm going to give you probably a little drier part, but more informative in sense of what the academies look like. So again, there's two programs, a little bit different, a little bit similar, both amazing, but I want to make sure that you leave this event with a clear view of what you're looking for, and does that work for you? And with all of that information, we're going to end up with a panel. So I mentioned we want to hear from real people, so I've invited a couple of colleagues that either were a part of the program, either they've developed the program, either they've done both, similar, looking at you. And I want to make sure that you hear from people what they went through, why do they see a lot of value in the program, and what can you expect from it, okay? So we have 1 hour. When it comes to the question, because we also have online audience and live audience, which is really cool, you can raise your hands at basically any point of this presentation, and online audience can pop in the questions because we have some online consultants as well to make sure that we answer HR questions, live questions, technical questions. So we try to make sure that all the bets are safe. Now, what I also wanted to touch real quick, unsuccessfully I did that, so let's ignore that this happened. What I wanted to touch is connect Vinted and the way we do things at Vinted with why we do talent programs. We've been around since 2008. Now we're Vinted Group that not only connects Marketplace, but also works with Vinted Go and Vinted Pay. So 3 companies are going towards making secondhand first choice for many, many years. And we've successfully launched and been present in more than 26 markets in Europe and beyond. And basically, it's been done by very, very smart, very curious, very caring people who like to work with each other. And I'm kind of hinting at our values on the left side, on the right side of the screen. Yeah. And for a company such as Vinted, we want to stay here for the long game. And one of the ways to do that is ensure sustainable talent pipelines. It would not make sense not to organize opportunities for entry talent. Hence, here we are. It is a cool place, a great place to learn, work with really impactful projects, and that's something that Aurelia, I'm sure, is going to cover in a second. So let's move there, actually, and let's invite, with a round of applause, Aurelia Pletiene on the stage.
You know, there's a saying, when you want to wish someone luck, you say break a leg. I actually broke a leg, not because of luck, but I'm healing quickly, so it's easier if I sit, and apologies to someone sitting in the back. Now, talking about careers, I think I'm one of the people who has weirdest careers ever. If you look at my CV, you would think there's something off with an individual, or she can't settle in. I've changed my career like 5 times. When I was still at school, my primary goal was to study psychology. Thank God, and everyone who would be struggling with mental health shouldn't come to me for sure. So it's good that I didn't go that route in the career, but somehow I ended up studying hydrometeorology as my studies. I didn't work a single day in my specialization, but this was maybe the most fun studies one could have. The reason I kept changing the careers for me was you can't, whenever I feel like I have already learned something and there's not much learning left, then what am I doing in this role? And therefore I kept on navigating all different fields. So I've been in sales, I've been in marketing, I've been in engineering, I've been in data engineering, and now I'm in product. I ended up in my current role, which is in trust and safety, by accident. I've been working in data infrastructure, and since there was a director of engineering who was leaving the company, temporarily I was covering for the role, which then led to me fully transitioning into trust and safety. Now, if you ask me today whether it's interesting to work in trust and safety, I think it's one of the most challenging areas to work in. At the same time, it's a reason why it's almost been 5 years that I don't change my career now. You keep on chasing the bad actors. You keep on trying to figure out how come somebody is trying to upload something harmful to the platform. You want to protect the good members from seeing that bad content, and there's different challenge every day. Be it somebody trying to upload a vape, don't buy it, or trying to scam some individuals, and be it Vinted or any other platform. If some platforms are telling you they don't have these problems, they are lying. So all platforms have it, so do we, but that's why we need very smart people to help us to navigate the challenge. We grow very quickly, patterns change very quickly, so it's becoming more and more interesting every day how you go about the solution space. Now, if I think also where in my career have I seen people making decisions in their careers, I've been visiting some schools with the attempts to invite more people to join STEM careers. Still not many people choose it, even though it's one of the most opportunistic areas. If you want to build a good life, good career, STEM is the area where you should at least get skills, even if you don't intend to work in it. Be it early in schools or getting to meet people who are changing their careers, you can see how people have something set in their mindset as if I need to make a very permanent decision where I will work in. My own example is you will either end up somewhere good accidentally, or you will need to make quite a lot of shifts in your career, and it's overestimated how definite you have to be when you are making a career choice. You have to find a good company, a role that interests you, but whether it will be your passion, whether you'll fit with the manager, with values of the company is less about your choice and more about where you land. So you do need to carefully choose of where you're going with your next step, but don't necessarily overthink this will be my permanent move. You'll have so many opportunities to change if it's not, but think more about what is my next chapter in life. Now, talking about the people who joined us within Vinted Academy, very early, you would feel that responsibility comes with your role, meaning you don't need to get to a certain career level to get a responsibility that goes beyond just getting a ticket assigned. Vinted invests heavily into how our engineering infrastructure is built. We rarely buy third-party solutions because we believe we need our own tech stack to sustain, maintain, and provide the solutions at scale we're in. So from engineering side, there is never a lack of challenge, be it scale-wise, opportunity-wise, area-wise what you want to delve into. If you also consider the opportunities from data side, be it machine learning, be it decision science. I have never seen an individual who lacked a challenge or was not able to contribute to something that is very meaningful. I take one example of, we just had a workshop with one engineering manager leading a team, designing brand portal, meaning how should brands whose items are uploaded at Vinted report to us as a platform on when they believe something is infringing as a content. Building such a portal can be technically challenging, but it also gives you an opportunity to tap into what those brands are reporting, what is important to them, and that's a world you would not touch in any other occasion. It doesn't matter if it's IC level, so individual contributor on their first step, or individual contributor on the most senior level, whether they get assigned to the task. The only difference is the level of task you get within that scope. But very early, even if you just joined from the academy, you get the assignment in the same scope the team works in. You'll simply be expected to deliver and ask a lot of questions. As long as you're opportunistic and as long as you learn fast and you have a curious mindset, the level of responsibility, your own ability to understand where you've made impact will grow very fast exponentially. The best people we've seen joining from the academy are able to shift with their career levels within a year, max 2. We even had the belief of like, there's something suspicious if a person hasn't grown from the first level to the level 2 within a year, or max 2, just because it is so challenging, and from day one, you get so much responsibility that you don't have much space of, I'll just theoretically read about it, figure something out. Later, you literally get a task, you get support from the team, you have 4 eyes who will look at either your code or analysis you're working on, you'll get challenging question, but responsibility is what grows you with that task. And what grows you with the task is also what will stick you for your career. You'll learn best from practice, not by learning something or being assigned to somebody's buddy. By being somebody's buddy, like many companies approach such roles, is you do get to shadow. You do get to see a lot how things work, but it's only if you yourself feel accountability and responsibility, whether you've released a bug, whether you have created a feature. It's only there that you get full opportunity to learn from it and grow from there. And the last thing I wanted to touch upon is the culture itself. At Vinted, we work a lot with, call it postmortems, call it other culture title. If we find a bug somewhere, or in general we see some incident happen, writing a postmortem, so what happened, what was the impact, what led to it, is the reason to learn from it so that we could prevent from it from the for the future. There's no blame culture, and part of feature development at Vinted is associated with experimentation. So if you're familiar with the word A/B testing, any hypothesis has to be tested against groups of users. You will have group A, which will be exposed to a new feature, group B, which will not, and you'll compare what was the effect, because most of your hypotheses will prove to be either wrong or not as impactful or even more impactful than you initially considered. But that kind of experimentation culture gives good space, especially for new joiners, to tap into, I believe this is good, I'll tap into the experiment, we'll learn from it, instead of being afraid that I'll make a mistake. If you'll make a mistake, yes, we will write a postmortem, but at the same time, that postmortem is supposed to serve the team a learning space. What is it that led to the mistake happening? We have 4 eye controls almost everywhere, meaning at the end of the chain, we should still have a good control that we don't release bugs or analyses are finished and nobody can understand it. Or machine learning model is built and then it doesn't deliver the value. In all these cases, there's a whole environment built so that teams could experiment, so that they could learn from it and increase impact as we go. And the environments you choose to work in shape a lot with what values you'll choose your next career steps. At some point in my career, I think I worked with, I call it for the devil, where you can see how much you have to compromise your internal values just for the sake of whether we would pay bonuses for people or not. It's internalized in companies' culture. Where do you put your most focus, attention? What do you praise for? What do you punish for? At Vinted, I have never felt that there is a compromise with my values or that somebody at the company have to put down something that they really believe in and not fulfill the mission that the company is on. So if there's only one encouragement I can add to anyone who is either considering to change a career or to now take the first step in the career, choose the company, hopefully Vinted, where your values are to be reflected there as well, and environment which allows you to grow. I think that's it.
Thank you, Aurelia. We're going to have Aurelia to jump back in a little bit later as well. Now, let's jump in and talk about the programs a little bit more. So as I mentioned from the beginning, probably 50 times already, we have 2 programs and certain elements are very, very similar. So let's go into those. First thing is that these programs have been running several years already, and what we've noticed is that we keep on wanting more because people are doing amazing in the organization later on. Hence, we have 2 groups joining us on an annual basis. So the next one is actually going to join us, hopefully, consisted of some of you, on the 7th of September. The next one happens then in spring, and so on and so forth until I'm in the pension and then I leave. So basically, we are running these programs only in Lithuania. We are very open and absolutely flexible, whether you prefer Vilnius or Kaunas. So Vilnius here, the headquarters, and we do also have a place in Kaunas, a pretty cool office. For those who are here in office, we have Sigitas, who is the dog and the mascot of the Kaunas city. Very important person, dog. Moving on, who are we targeting? So basically, we're looking at students, we're looking at those who recently graduated, we're looking at those who also are switching their careers and are more or less the beginning stages of doing that. What is important is that we're not expecting you to have experience of working in the area, no job experience required, but we do want you to be really interested in the craft, and usually that is visible through your portfolio, whether that's a GitHub, a web page, and a description of the projects that you've run in your university, in your private time. All of these things are very, very essential in the application stage, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So again, your motivation will shine through that, basically, through your learning, constant learning in the area. When it comes to the program elements of learning and development, we have mentorship. We have managers that lead you through the experience, manage your workload, your goal setting, your growth areas, strategies, and all of that bits and pieces. Then we have a bunch of technical workshops. We have company-wide onboarding prepared for all of the newcomers, besides also not only the academy students. And also we have extra career sessions that are focused on subjects that are universally useful for anyone's growth. And we're talking priority management, we're talking working with other people, we're talking identifying your strengths and knowing how to use them, how to utilize them. So you're basically a burrito with all the best things that we can put together and let into the world and do great things, make impact while learning. What is important is that contracts for both of the programs are fixed, but already jumping ahead, the goal is to grow and offer you a permanent role afterwards. So that is very important. But during those 6 or 12 months, you do have also different expectations because you learn so much, and we want to keep that. So for Engineering Academy, I'll mention in a second, it's a 6-month contract, and then hopefully move into a permanent role. For data science and analytics, it's up to 12 months, hopefully 12 months or a little bit less. And there is an option to join, this is kind of adapted to students, to join as a 0.8 time employee in case you have classes and whatnot, and that could be relevant until you graduate. And yeah, go grow, invest in you, and move you into a permanent role. It doesn't always 100% happen like that. Stuff happens, not both parties, agree and work together well, and that is why we try to do a really, really good job in the selection process, setting expectations, finding the right people, explaining the way Vinted works, and seeing if that works for you. When it comes to now specifically engineering academies, so as I mentioned, it's a 6-month contract divided into 2 parts. So we have 2 months and 4 months. So the first 2 months, you are a part of, I could probably call it a technical onboarding boot camp thing going on, but you're only working between yourselves. So we usually hire 20, 25 individuals from backend, web, Android, and iOS. And we simulate a product team, and you are led by an academy manager for 2 months. You have 101s, you have stand-ups, you have retros. So you simulate how a team would work, but you have all the place to fall and error and learn and whatnot. So this is a place where it's quite intense in terms of learning, a lot of workshops, a very cool academy task going on, but also on the side you have a very strong support system. You have an individual mentor. Again, you have a manager, your peers. So these are the 2 first months. Then what happens is that you move into engineering teams across the organization. It's hard to tell you where you're going to end up, basically, but we try to do our best. You stay there for the remaining 4 months of the contract, and hopefully you are staying there on a permanent contract afterwards. And yeah, and that's how it usually looks like. Moving into data science and analytics, we have 12 months. So 6 months and 6 months. So we have 2 rotations. And you do have a choice, and below we see data science, decision science, and analytics engineering. So there are 3 roles what you could do in the data science and then the analytics academy. I'm gonna definitely ask Karolina's help to expand on the roles a little bit better. But for the first 6 months, you're gonna be in one area, one team, and for the next 6 months, you can actually change not only the area, but also the role, which gives you a very wide understanding of how data science or analytics, also shortened DSA, works here at Vinted. It's not an obligatory change in terms of a role, but it's something that people have been doing, and maybe Daniel can also give a little bit of insight about that experience, because he's on the path right now. And I think I'm gonna stop here with this tech stack, because that's not my area of expertise. We have Karolina for that, and move into the hiring process. Because this is a high volume recruitment, the approach is a little bit different than what people might usually expect. There is no recruiter phone screen. Otherwise, me and my colleague would open up a phone booth because there's a lot of applications. The way we try to trim it down or make it as efficient as possible, we start with a good old application. And this is the place where I really want to emphasize, this is a place where you can showcase your technical skills. This is a place where you would add your portfolios, GitHubs, talk about your university project, whatever you've had cooking on the side with your friends, with family, business, anything is relevant. Do not underestimate that. I always urge students especially if you don't have the experience, you at least can have a section of whatever projects you've been working on. If you don't have that yet, could be you can apply, you can definitely try, but it's a good thing to have for maybe next academy recruitment campaign. Just an idea. We are, again, spoiler alert, opening up the applications on the 25th of May, which is Monday, and we're going to keep the applications open for a very specific time, so either 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the role, and that's something that you're just advised not to miss out on the deadline. Now, we are looking through, we're humans, and I mean, when we go through resume review, application review, it's actual people looking at all of you. So we read the motivationals, we read the answers to the questions that you answer when we post them, and together with the technical people, so whether that would be an analyst, whether that would be an engineer, we come up with a short list of individuals that receive a take-home technical assignment. And a reminder, up until this stage, you haven't really met a recruiter or whatnot, so that is something to have in mind. This will be happening mid-end June, so you will have a week or a little bit more than that to work on it's a programming assignment. It's going to be Python for data science and analytics. It's going to be something very similar, different languages for engineering roles. But at the end of the day, we AI, okay? So it's absolutely fine to use it. We use it here at Vinted. It would be hypocritical to tell you not to use it. What would be important is a blind copy paste from whatever AI platform you would use, copy paste and submitting an assignment. That's not what we would be looking for. I'm going to also let the panel add their insights if they want to, but we want to see some logic behind. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're curious about the way you think, what's the reason behind. Using some cool prompts afterwards, doing some quality check, it's absolutely fine. So just want to kind of give a little bit of an insight on the balance, what we're expecting when you use AI in this technical stage and when you submit the task. Then after we review the assignments, also actually done, at least in engineering, done by 2 people per one assignment, so it's not very kind of, random check and like left, right, swipe. We actually take our time to do that, and we have the interview stage, and some of the people are invited there. Now, we have 2 subjects that we want to cover when meeting you. We want to cover the technical part, which is the assignment that you submitted. There's also some technical background, your interest, how you've been learning in this area. That is a subject that we want to touch. And also we want to talk about culture fit. And that is something Aurelia already touched on. We're really looking for people that are very oriented to constant learning, open to feedback, open to working with other different people, because that's cross-collaboration is bread and butter here at Vinted. So these soft skills are also equally important. And the way we run interviews when it comes to cultural fit is we form called situational questions. They're all based on Vinted values. There are 5 of them, and we're basically trying to hear your experiences and backstories and look for patterns where your behavior would shine and kind of we would notice some alignment with Vinted values, which would mean is that if you end up in this environment, you wouldn't burn out, you wouldn't get lost too much, because it is an intense place to work for. And in some programs, so in engineering, we usually separate the 2 interviews. In data science and analytics, we used to have it all together. It depends, nothing for you to worry about, but content and subjects are very, very similar. And that would be happening mid-end July. So basically, we're spending 2 months to get to the offer part. So early August is the time where we expect to extend offers to our future autumn cohorts for data science and analytics. And fireworks and champagne, basically. And I think that is all I wanted to touch upon in these slides. I'm sure you might have some questions. We can always come back to these. Whew, okay. I'm sure I've spoken enough today, and now I would love to hear my colleagues, and I'm sure you would like to hear some more real-life insights. So I would love to invite back Aurelia, Simonas, Domas, Daniel, and Carolina on the stage here, and I'll probably stay on this side. With some applause, I guess, of encouragement, that would be, yeah, thank you. I think what would make sense is sitting, yep. Once we had a mix and everyone got mixed. Hi, hello. Oh yeah, perfectly. The person with the broken leg, yeah, furthest around. Okay, so what I thought we can start with is a round of introductions, and you've already heard a little bit from Aurelia, so maybe we can start with Simonas. Yeah, okay, yeah, you have a mic, perfect. We can start with Simonas, and what I would love, Simone, you to tell us, who are you? What do you do with Academy at Vinted? And if you could touch upon some points about level 1 engineer, Academy, how would you kind of describe a profile that we were looking for so people could self-identify if that's something that they relate to?
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is me. This is what work at Vinted
Perfect.
does to you. Yeah, they call me a lead backend engineer now. I call myself just a backend engineer or software developer, and I do that, and I also help organizing the Vinted Academy, the engineering academy, not the DSA one from the technical side. And to answer the question, what are we looking for? We're looking for people who are able to challenge others, be it your peers or your engineering managers or even your directors, but also do it with the right level of empathy. And what I mean by that is that you basically, you don't be an asshole, but you also don't be a person who says yes to every request and tries to be nice to everyone. And that usually comes from a place of care, which I think is the most important value. Care to both people around you, which makes you not be an asshole to people around you, but also care to the system you're building, because that makes you not become too nice and actually protect the system you're building. Thank you.
Thank you. Damas, you recently and woohoo graduated from Engineering Academy successfully as an iOS engineer. And yes, Sigis, thank you. And what we're curious about, I mean, your background and your story is very cool. So a little bit about yourself and how did you end up here with us at Vinted and the Engineering Academy?
Hey, yeah. So I'm Thomas. I came here through quite a long story. I was in London for 12 years. Moved to Singapore. Was living out there. Wanted to come back to Lithuania. So Vinted was looking for iOS engineers. So sort of just applied, and now I've been here for 7 months. Um, so yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I started off just doing like side projects with friends, doing Android and iOS things. Over time, it sort of led to me helping out with some more professional friend projects and sort of getting some experience there, porting things over to iOS from Android, and yeah, and then I applied here, and now I'm here. I guess I don't know if you want more depth.
No, no, so far so good. Thank you, Damas, so much. Daniel, you have a mic. Perfect. A little bit about yourself and where in the academy are you at? And probably you're not going to say a bad word because you're still in the academy. I'm kidding. You're about to getting closer to getting into a permanent role, or what's happening? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Daniel. I'm a decision scientist here at Vinted. So, where should I even start? So basically, my background originated from bioengineering. So for some time, I was actually working in a laboratory. And even then, I had a job at the National Cancer Institute. I was doing a ton of experiments. I had to do some kind of an analysis. There was a lot of like technical work happening, but of course, after you gather all the data, you have to analyze it. And even then, I started like wondering myself, is this something that I would like to do? And eventually I graduated, I got my bachelor's degree, and then I decided to go to the work and travel program. So for 4 months, I was living in the US, in New York. I had plenty of time to think about myself. Either I want to continue my studies in bioengineering, or I want to try something new. So by that time, I had plenty of time to think and analyze everything. I decided that I will take the risk and simply try something new. And at that time, I discovered Turing College. They had this like data science program, so I did that. Meanwhile, I also decided that I don't want to sit like doing anything. So I also found myself a job as a in IT support at here at Telia, and also I decided that since I don't have a lot of like management related skills, I need to get them, and I also got my master's degree in innovation and technology communication. So at one point, I was so busy because I was working, I was getting my master's degree, and also getting my data science courses finished. And exactly 1 year ago, I was sitting in the same place, but on the other side, and I was also listening to the academies at Vinted. And actually then I realized that I would love to be here. Like the environment, the people, the stories that they're telling, the job itself, the product. I just loved every aspect of that. And I didn't think even for a minute. I decided to apply it immediately, and here I am.
Oh, sorry, didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, so a little what I'm doing right now, I started at the trust domain as a decision scientist, and this is my second rotation. And in my second rotation, I'm still a decision scientist, but in another domain, which is buyers. So
I'll definitely ask you about the different experiences between the two areas, so keep that in mind. Carolina, I have a soft spot for you because when we started with the Data Science and Analytics Academy, you were one of the teams who hosted the first Academy students. So very legendary. Always, the first ones are always have a soft spot. And you've been a big part of shaping the program to what it is right now. So very happy to have you here and love to hear a little about you, to introduce yourself to the audience. And if you could help us understand a little bit better about those 3 roles that I mentioned in previous slides about DSA Academy.
Yes, thank you. Very happy to be here, Goda. Yes, I became a mentor in the DSA Academy, I think 6 or 9 months after I started working at Vinted. So it was of the first things that I did here. And it was quite fun. Me, myself, was a math geek when I was at school. Then I went through a rebellious, I'm an architect stage for years. Dropped off into a financial economics master accidentally, so graduated there. And then finally I figured out, okay, data. Actually, it's data for me. Yeah, and very happy to be here, like you and most of us already mentioned. Vinted is a great place to be. Coincidentally, this is the geographically closest place to work for me. Very nice accident. Getting back to the academy and to the DSA profiles that we are looking for. In general, we are looking for commitment to data. We look at people who have already learned by themselves or in a university and who already know basic data manipulation techniques and the logics and can apply it. Unfortunately, this means that this is not a place to try out if you like data in general, because you all saw it's a 1-year commitment, and it's a 1-year commitment for you. It's also a 1-year commitment for us, and we want to make sure that this year only sets you up for success for a longer career, not a trial period for yes or no, unfortunately. Yay. And the profiles, the 3 different profiles, data, decision, science, and analytics engineering. So these are a little bit different. And I would say that it might depend on your personality a little bit more. So if you like to solve business problems and you look at numbers and you say, oh my God, this is a story that I see, you're a decision scientist for sure. If you like to go deep into the algorithms and you can spend hours and hours trying to optimize the perfect math equation, you're a data scientist. And for those 2, we found in our academy rotations, we found that if you are good with statistics and if you are quite good with math, you're going to be successful here, next to all of the values that obviously we don't compromise on. So that means that if you go through a boot camp of data analytics, this might not be enough. You don't have to get statistics and math from a university these days, but you might want to put an extra effort and extra time into these skills. For analytics engineering, we call them the architects and the detectives of data. So they make sure that everything is correct in the right place for the long term. Knowing the databases is a very good thing. We all work with Python, we all work with SQL, with different frequencies and in different volumes. Analytics engineering is the least known part for me, but they use the word airflow. Yeah, so that might be a hint. And that is it. So we welcome different profiles, but the core skills have to be there. We have tech PhDs, we have hands-on people who come here, and the core is our values, learning mindset, curiosity, so stay curious and keep on learning.
Perfect. Thank you, Carolina, so much. Now, I'm looking at Monica. So, this is the part where we open up the questions to the audience, from the audience. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. I have a few questions in my pocket, just in case you're a little bit shy. And also for the live audience, in case we don't have enough time for all of your questions, we have some time to mingle with some drinks after the conversation. But I'm looking at Monica. Monica has a question from the online audience, so go ahead.
Yeah, so question for speakers. You might choose who will answer. Since the first two steps in the application process are most technical oriented, what entry-level tech skills and background are recommended for academists?
I think, I have some ideas. I'm looking at maybe Simonas and Carolina a little bit here, but also those who applied that could share their insights as well.
Maybe DSA can start first.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so for the application process, from the technical side, it's, if we call statistics technical, then that's number one, and then you have Python and SQL.
Okay, for Engineering Academy, for the backend, as Ruby is not that popular programming language these days, we do not require knowledge of Ruby programming language or Go. We do require, let's say, I'm not sure how to phrase it, a good understanding of at least a single programming language of your choice, and also good understanding of programming fundamentals. I mean, we do expect people to know what a for loop is or what a conditional is. It's a plus if you have experience with object-oriented programming, because that's what we use here the most at Vinted. But it's more interesting if you have experience in functional programming, for example, or even logical programming. So, yeah, I guess that's mostly it. And I think what Gala said, we definitely do not require a person to have working knowledge. I mean, we do not require a person joining the academy to have worked elsewhere. It is a big benefit, though, because usually people that come from already work somewhere, they are aware of how Jira works, for example, or how version control systems work. Still, having said that, I've seen multiple people coming to the academy over the years who haven't worked anywhere or changed careers, only been through coding boot camps and managed to pick up all the skills during those 2 months and now contribute the same level as a university graduate does. Sorry, maybe Thomas can talk about IS, for example.
Yeah, I guess I can add a little bit regarding iOS. I think specifically with mobile, there needs to be a little bit of knowledge on how the system works and sort of being able to create a simple screen and whatnot, because I think it's something you can learn over time and get better with, but just to start off, the fact that we have to work on a feature in the first 2 months means you have to kind of know how to start working on it from the get-go. But yeah, I think otherwise it's quite similar to backend. Like, I don't think anyone's expected to be a 15-year senior, just sort of knowing everything. It's sort of growth is the most important thing here. So yeah, some experience, but not to the level of, you wouldn't be applying for the academy if you knew everything already.
Yeah, another thought came. I very much encourage you, if you ask this question, to just try and join and try to do the task, because we try our best to give feedback after the homework part or after the interview part. So I think this feedback might be the best mechanism for you to know where you stand in terms of what we expect in Vinted Academy.
You clicked. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead with the question. I'll bring you the mic.
Thank you. Hi. I'll jump on a little bit on the same topic, kind of, but in a deeper sense. I'll focus a bit on the the essay, and maybe I'll position my question later to the engineering and so on. So you said statistics, and also maybe Python, right? So as a listener now, those are for me for very vague. Like for instance, okay, Python, how level, like what is the level that I should have from Python so I consider myself applying for this role or not? The second thing, and as I see the like Domus and Daniel, they already have like a huge work experience. So that position me thinking that the academy kind of chooses first the people who have lots of tons of experience to start with, but the other people are just, well, we'll check you later, guys. That's what I'm thinking right now. The third point is you answering now as people already passed the interview stage or the talent acquisition stage, and then, for instance, they did the task, and then you give them the feedback on whether you are suitable to apply or not, or suitable to join us or not, right? So how it sorry, how it is with the previous stage, like people who didn't pass, for instance, the screening stage, but they still have some experience or have knowledge or interest in the data or coding, let's say, part. How would that relate to them, you know?
Okay, so I might have forgotten the first question, but let me try. So going deeper into the technical side, basic data manipulations, being able to answer question why a thing happens and what does data show, regressions, linear, interpretational things. So first of all, you have to be able, for the decision science specifically, you have to be able to read the data and to interpret the data and to forecast the data. For the data science part, you will have to be familiar with clustering and trees, whatever other models are called, but all of the data science basics. I guess you can ask ChatGPT to give you a program and they can give you a good statistics program to go through. When it comes to coding for the decision science, it's just so you're able to use your statistical knowledge in a pretty efficient manner. For data science as well, you have to be able to build things efficiently, not super efficiently, because somebody else will help you to go to the performance grade of the production space, but you have to be able to actually build stuff and actually get the answers yourself out of large scale of data. And for analytics engineering, you have to be able to put it into tables that are updating in a smart way, that are keeping consistent data sources and so on. So yeah, if that gives the answer to question number one. Question number two, can you repeat? I think you talked about the work experience, and it gives the impression that everybody is great and amazing. So unfortunately, again, this word, we had very spectacular candidates in the past years. Obviously, this is a nice space to learn, to make mistakes, and we understand why people who already could maybe apply to a work somewhere, to a work position somewhere else, they would choose to come here. But we do not require working experience with data. Yeah, this is a great example, but not the only one. So if you can show us that you're capable, that's really good enough. But it is recommended to show it in your portfolio and preferably write a sentence or two in your CV so that we know that you understand what we're about. The third question.
That leads us to the third question, actually, like how a person would go. Like, for instance, if I think of myself that, okay, I'm capable of doing that, or I enjoy doing that, or I have some knowledge about that thing, right? How I guarantee that I'm passing from the first stage? Because how does it work, the first stage in the first place? How does screening work? Why would I pass and she wouldn't, for instance? You know, what would make people eligible to pass to the technical test, which will give them more insights about how capable they are to join the specific role or not? Because this is the main question. Yeah, when it comes to you, yeah, it's all technical. We see you, we tells you the feedback, which is perfect. I really appreciate that because you can build a lot upon that. But how can I guarantee to pass from you to them?
It's a random number generator. So we take a list of all the applications, we put it in a random number generator, and the numbers go out. So
if I understand the question correctly, it's basically how do you jump through the hoops successfully, and it's specifically related to the technical.
The technical assessment, let's say, that's all. Like to pass from the first stage with the screening, okay, you have like 100 applicants. How do you choose 25 of them? Like what would make me one of those 25 of them to pass just to the technical?
I don't know if it's the right time to talk about career level framework, Aurelia. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe it's a bit too much. No. What I can tell from like non-technical perspective, Simolas is looking.
I'm interested in that as well.
All of the technical assessments, I mean, they're not done by one random person. Created. Instructions are also created based on what we understand a level 1 engineer or analyst to be. And we try to put together the criteria or the evaluations accordingly. I don't think we would even push through a candidate who has 2-3 years of experience of being a decision like data analyst in some other company. It's not really what the academy is looking for. That's not the stage that we can support best. That would be someone who can immediately apply to a junior role, like a full-time permanent. And academy is very much about kind of also learning and filling the gap. Sounds a little bit negative, but yeah. So what I wanted to come back to is the assignment is aligned with what we understand level 1 analyst is. And that's not a technical, but what I wanted to, I guess, explain is that it's not random, it's not made by random people, and it's not like 50 are gonna pass and 15 are, 100 is gonna fail at this specific stage. I'm rambling, if anyone wants to save me here.
So make it readable, make your CV readable, make your portfolio readable, make it clear, don't put too much text, we don't read the GPT-generated explanations that are 15 sentences long. Show that you understand the core principles and the core ideas.
I think my colleagues listed quite a few criteria we're looking for. Be it from academy, be it for senior roles, when you look at somebody's CV, you definitely can see it's written by GPT or it's written for literally everyone. Those typically don't pass the bar. If it's really genuinely applicable for this role, I know these skills, this is what I'm good at, even if it's still early stage, will make you stand out. If you stick to just generic, I like data, then that's not something that grabs the attention out of, I don't know, few hundred of CVs. So it's not like you want to overdo it and put it like, I'm the best you have ever seen, but you also don't want to leave it generic.
Yes, I think I saw you first and then we can.
Hello, I am asking a question as someone that applied for an internship and failed as a career changer, so I think I'm playing double jeopardy here. Whole experience that I had in this transitional change and everything that happened was a lot of learning with AI, and it happens, and from not knowing what a subnet is to having a home lab happened in 6 months. You don't organically do that. You need the help of AI. With that being said, and with every challenges that happen and how the process happens, number one question would be, how would you consider someone that is coming from a non-technical background, that his academic background was in data, would put his best foot forward, whilst at the same time be able to show that he knows what the AI of choice built for him would show, because when doing the repository, you are gonna have the AI reasoning behind it. So then do you do comments on comments on comments, or do you just try to rewrite everything that you did for 6 months in 6 days? Like, how would you see such a person trying to bring their best foot forward?
Sorry, I heard data, so I assume this was directed more to the
No,
DSA
no, no, no. It
Academy.
would have to be for backend as well, because at the end of the day, like, you built your own infrastructure, you have your own way of doing it, like this kind of explaining it. Because number one, the AI has to write for itself to build. You have to correct it using natural language, and you're not gonna rewrite that whole conversation because you never had to. But now in 6 days, you have to present a portfolio. Yikes. Like, are there any kind of ideas on how to do that, to best do it? Because when you're gonna read the GitHub repository, it's gonna be AI generated because it's the conversation that you had with AI. So how do you see this kind of situation? Like, maybe wait until the next time and make sure you internalized everything and redo it? Do it now and hope for the best? How would you see an applicant being successful in this kind of position of accelerated learning and still trying to show he understands what he's doing?
I would say the second one, because I heard how, if I heard correctly, you talked about internalizing. So do I understand correct that there's doubt about whether you yourself know that you internalize
No. It's
the
just
stuff?
to bring forward the best view that you know what you're talking about,
Yes.
or to just wait and dot the I's and cross the T's one more time. Like, do you present the raw data you had when building with AI, or do you just try to redo it yourself, having the experience with AI?
For me, it's mostly about, like, in every step, be it a technical task, which later an interview is, how to say it, you are the owner. Still, I view it, you as the owner of the stuff that's produced. If you can understand, explain, and reason about the stuff that you wrote, be it a task or your own portfolio, I really don't care about whether it's been generated or not. For me, what cares about the thought process behind building it. And you can usually see that during the interview, or even in the task README, or other documents that are presented with the material when applying. So to answer your question, if you trust yourself, you know the stuff you build, I would definitely just submit it and try.
Okay, yeah.
One more point, I heard you mentioned second time applying. So thanks for that and praise for that. You would be surprised how many people, whichever level they are, joining Vinted not from the first attempt. So it's only encouraged, and there's at all no stigma at Vinted around whether it's from the first time or a later one. And from the perspective of whether it should be use cases built with AI, it's not AI we are inviting to work for us. You still have to be smart where you use it, make sure it doesn't hallucinate and it doesn't produce the output that you can't comment on. So the more confident about the output you are, be it AI used behind or not, the clearer your statement will be. And the fact that you come from academia, I personally had a person on our team who literally switched careers from academia. It provides so much more insights in the head for them to become more accurate or faster in learning, that I didn't see it as something that had to be unlearned, rather employed.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm looking at the clock, and I'm thinking that 30 minutes went by extremely, extremely fast. So I think a time was well spent, so thank you. But the ones that are here in the office, our colleagues are going to mingle here a little bit. Feel free to get some refreshments and continue the conversations. And those who are online, thank you. and connect if you feel you want to add something
Yes,
additionally.
I do.
Okay, can I finish? Yeah, okay, thank you. If you want, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be aware of it. So if you have any follow-up questions that were not answered, I'm very happy to do that. And yeah, Simone, go
Sorry
ahead.
about that, but I want
No
to
worries.
release this thought. Do we still ask for motivational letters?
It's an optional
It's
part.
an option. So I really, the last bit, I really suggest writing this one if you really want to end up here. And do it on your own, even with grammar mistakes and stuff. And rather than delegating it to ChatGPT, it really helps. We really do read it. And for me personally, reading the motivational letter when reviewing the homework and stuff is, you can really feel it when person really wants to end up here. And that adds bonus points for sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, and bye to everyone online, and bye to everyone live. Bye.